HRW Financial, the sales coaching podcast, where we hope to inspire and grow revenue for individuals and your team. Today we have with us Phillip A. Lewis, the co-founder of Profit Enhancement Group, a cost containment consulting firm focused on reducing healthcare costs for employers and health plans. Phil is constantly fighting to reverse the increases in healthcare costs, which are continuing to erode our quality of life. Phil has owned and led a number of businesses in the real estate, retail, and healthcare industries. Phil currently lives in Atlanta and enjoys cooking with his fiancee Stacey while pursuing his hobbies of golf and fly fishing. You are in the insurance business, is that correct?
We're on the periphery of the insurance business. We are really cost containment strategists that bring platforms and services that help companies reduce their healthcare spend. We're technically not selling insurance, we're selling services, and we have the capacity to reduce a healthcare spend somewhere 10 to 40%, so it has a pretty significant impact. It makes the company a little bit more profitable and makes life a lot easier. One of our better programs is a diabetes reduction program that, like most health carriers, health plans will say, well, we help manage diabetes. And what happens is a nurse calls somebody diagnosed with diabetes once or twice a year and says, hey, John, are you taking your medicine and are you going to see your doctor? And if the person is participating and responds well, they may tweak the copay a little bit to make it a little bit easier. But that's really not doing anything to reduce or reverse type 2 diabetes. And our platform works alongside the medical platform of medications and doctor visits, but it's a lifestyle and coaching platform that helps we take a type 2 diabetic from being diabetic to being non-diabetic in about 12 months. And not only is that great for the individual, but a diabetic costs somewhere between $10,000 and $15,000 more per year than a non-diabetic does. So if we can step in and save a health plan $10,000 to $15,000 per year for each diabetic, that's what we call a cost savings. Wow. And it continues. And obviously, once someone quits being a diabetic or ceases to be a diabetic, that savings continues on and on and on. And frequently people are diagnosed as diabetics in their mid 40s, so there may be 15 to 20 years of savings that we help the company accrue, and they've got the added benefit of a healthy employee who's not missing work, and a lot of the comorbidities that go along with diabetes also are removed. So it's just good for everybody.
Who is your actual prospect?
Frequently, the people we focus on are self-insured carriers. Self-insured businesses. We do some work with some health plans where they want to use our services basically on an outsourced basis. They're not the larger health plans. They're a lot of the regional and smaller health plans are folks that we talk to. We do a lot of work with unions and trusts, places where they have, we kind of target entities that have a very robust benefits package, so it's very expensive. And so that's when we can step in and reduce their healthcare spend by, 10 to 40%.
Off the subject, tell me a little bit about your family. Are you married? You live here in Atlanta, I see, correct?
I live in Atlanta with my significant other, fiance, and she's also my business partner. And we founded the company together. We worked together and decided that the large publicly traded company that we worked for wasn't. They were just maintaining the status quo. They weren't reaching out to do anything new and different, and we felt that it was needed. Love dogs, love just about any kind of animal you can find. Love to cook, and then my sports are golf and fly fishing.
What kind of cooking do you like to do?
Just about anything. I find it early on in my career, I was never at home, and in my 40s, became more homebound and found that the cooking was very therapeutic, and I enjoyed it. Also kind of pursue a healthy lifestyle. So we feel like we know cooking on our own, we know the quality of what we're getting. but it's not fancy. It's not French or anything like that. It's just, we do a lot of chilies. We do a lot of soups, a lot of grilling outside, and we do a fair amount of entertaining, and people are always calling up saying, can you make that chili again? Or can you make those French dip sandwiches again? So it's common food. It's not fancy, but it's everybody seems to enjoy the flavors that we come up with.
Are you an organic believer or not really?
Pretty much organic and free range. We kind of, buy in bulk, if you will, but it's also kind of funny. We're pretty much at the grocery store 4 or 5 times a week because we're not big on processed foods.
Right.
So we're making a lot of trips to eat fresh. We feel like it contributes to a fairly healthy lifestyle.
Besides your significant other, do you have any other employees, any other associates you work with?
We have about 125 1099 contractors across the country that technically work for us, but because they're in so many states, and we didn't want to really be in the employee business. Right. We kept it on that model.
Working with those type of people, that many people, what would you say is the most important quality you want them to have to work with an associate?
We have a lot of people that want to be affiliated with our platforms, and what we're looking for is, everything in business is part science and part art. And we're looking for people that know how to communicate with individuals as opposed to necessarily being the smartest folks on the block. And we get a sense for their honesty and integrity because what we do is all relationship oriented to, get in there and help somebody understand. You've got to be able to communicate across a broad spectrum because the size companies we talk to, there are many silos of decision makers. And so we have to gauge the situation on how they like to hear the information. So we need people that are communicators and are flexible.
Do you personally work well under pressure?
I think so. I've owned a number of businesses. I've been through a wife dying, some kids that could, if I still had hair, it would be solid gray.
Okay.
And so I feel like I've been with a number of folks as they've left this earth and gone on to the next world, and I think it's really flavored my outlook on life. And it's short. Have as much fun as you possibly can. Make sure you're doing something you enjoy, but realize that you're going to leave a legacy, and so conduct yourself appropriately. If
you're not at work, what do you enjoy doing the most outside of work?
We love the beach. So we love going down to Florida and just, going for long walks on the beach and just hanging out with friends. The Panhandle is about 6 hours from us here in Atlanta. So we probably get down there 3 or 4 times a year, and we kind of go down there and we'll, typically we're someplace where there's no cell phones and there's no internet, where we completely get off the grid for a while. If it's a short interval, then it's, playing golf or, getting out and doing fly fishing.
Other than sports, do you have any other hobbies?
No, I think I'm kind of boring. I don't really have much in the way of other hobbies. We work a fair amount. So with the work and the golf and things like that, it pretty much chews up most of the available time. We have folks working with us across the country. So we start relatively early in the morning and we work relatively into the evening, kind of helping manage things that are going on with clients.
Tell me about some of the relationships you have with people you work with.
I think one of the things that people find is that we are very value-based, and all of the people that work with us have commented on how we treat everybody as an individual, and we find out, what works best for them, and we work along those lines of, what's it take to make Gary be successful, and how is Gary processing this information? We do, Tom, what are you up to? We know everybody pretty well. We know what's going on with their families, and it's really more like a group of friends that have come together to kind of change the world. A lot of the things that we do are new and innovative, and people, so we're doing a lot of innovative stuff inside a marketplace that's relatively stagnant, and there hasn't been a significant amount of change over, the last 20 to 30 years. One of the things we talk about is that, over the past, 7 to 10 years, employees have seen their effective income reduced because so much of the cost of healthcare, the increases are being pushed onto the employees as companies try to manage that. And now with the advent of high deductible health plans, there are a lot of people that are just, it just consumes them. And so we know that we have to spend our time managing those thoughts and managing that process. And, so we're adventing change. And at the same time, we're bringing about, great opportunities for employees to have better lives.
Do you think government or the powers to be, whoever make the decisions, made a big mistake downplaying HSAs?
Yeah, I think that's true. I think that there's, one of the things we spend a lot of time on, Herb, is that there's a lack of transparency in how money is spent.
Right.
I don't know if you saw just one of the stories we use is recently there was an article on PBS where a gentleman, his wife was diagnosed, needed a heart medication. He got a prescription, got it filled by his pharmacist, and their copay was $285. It was a 90-day supply. About 60 days later, they were getting ready to go on a long trip. He tried to get the prescription refilled, and it was denied, saying, you've got to wait 15 more days before you're eligible to have your prescription. Well, in this case, you had to wait 15 more days to get your prescription refilled.
Right.
And so he happened to be in a Costco and just walked up and asked the pharmacist, hey, I need to buy this prescription. How much would it cost? Thinking, Costco's going to have it cheaper. And the guy goes, out of pocket, it's going to cost you $40.
Right.
And a lot of people, one of the things we do a lot of seminars, and one of the things we talk to people about is medical consumerism.
Right.
Understanding, if somebody told you needed a new roof, unless you've got a brother-in-law or family member in the business, what are you going to do?
It's a blind
You're going to call 3 or 4 people and say, how much is a new roof going to cost me?
Right.
But a doctor tells you need to go to St. Joe's for your MRI. Nobody asks any questions. They go and with a high deductible plan, they may be paying the whole $4,000 for the MRI when they could have gone to a local imaging center and it costs $300. It's the same GE machine that's doing the MRI.
Right.
It's the same radiologist that's reading it. There's just we've just been conditioned for so long that you don't really understand how to spend your money when it comes to medicine. But with the advent of high deductible health plans, employees are having to learn how to shop when it comes to buying medical services.
How do you make important decisions?
I'm probably more passion-based than analytical. I started out my life as a work career as a CPA, so I kind of understand money and finances fairly easily. But I'm sure there's a bunch of decisions that I've made over my life that people would say, I don't know that I would do that because they were more passion-based rather than cold and analytical. I mean, incredibly positive. In the room full of manure, I'm the one looking for the pony. I know there's one in there.
Good. What's been your most significant career accomplishment?
Gosh, in 1992, the first business I ever started it in 87. And in 1992, we won the equivalent of the Malcolm Baldrige Award from the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. And that was a big deal. It was in Houston, Texas. The economy was bad, and we took a startup business and really turned it into something. But I think what we're doing right now with Profit Enhancement Group is something that's going to be an incredible accomplishment, not only for us, but for companies' employees, because I think more and more we're going to see that innovation and to achieve better pricing and more transparency as it relates to healthcare is really going to become a huge thing.
Was that career accomplishment, was that the same industry? Were you doing the same thing?
Actually, no. My first business was in the real estate business as a